Aye.
Aye.
Anybody
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. We have adopted the minute meetings from the last meeting. And I apologize, y'all. I have had really bad allergies for the last 2 days. Like went to the doctor, got a steroid shot because I couldn't stop sneezing. So my brain is a little bit fuzzy, so I apologize. The meeting minutes are approved from the last steering committee meeting. The next item on the agenda is the report of our Senate district chairs.
So start with me.
Yes, sir. You are first, Mr. McNutt.
Can you see me? I'm in my car. So
I can see you.
SD4, we have begun discussing and making plans for Senate District Convention for 2022. I have polled my precinct chairs, and this is 2 years, 2 years in a row, I've gotten a unanimous vote for supporting a joint convention, participation in a joint county convention. So I hope that we discuss that and are able to support that. Every one of my precinct chairs want to do this again, whether
That's
it's virtual or in person.
That is wonderful. Thank you, Philip, for your report. The next person is SD6, Yolanda. I saw her in the waiting room a second ago. Yolanda, did you make it on?
I am here. How are you?
Good, how are you?
It's good to be here. So we had a meeting last week and I was giving everybody an opportunity to vote on to support or not to support the joint county convention. And so we had a quorum and it was, yes, everybody's on board for it. So that's good news. That's about it. I'm really proud though that of our Senate district precinct chairs. A lot of them have come out to volunteer at food distributions. And so that's really good. And just want to shout out a thank you, and I'm proud of them. So that's it. Ready to plan for 2022.
I want to echo Yolanda. I think that one of the things that has been incredibly clear under the pandemic, Democrats step up in a time of crisis, whether it's the elected officials, activists, donors, and everyone has been kind of incredible on the front lines, putting themselves out there to get either mask or water. So, I think it's really incredible and a true testament to how great the Democratic Party is and all of the people that are involved in it. So Yolanda, thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
SD7.
Good evening, everyone. SD7 has been meeting via Zoom monthly. We meet on the first Monday of each month. And at the February meeting, we did do pretty much just, I guess a poll to determine whether or not SD7 would like to participate in the joint 2022 convention. Yes, everyone, I didn't have anyone that said no. There were 2 people that weren't sure. Because of the timing, we won't be able to have a formal vote until the next monthly meeting, which will be on April the 5th. But I do anticipate that, we will participate in the 2022 joint convention. We have been working as a Senate district to do what we're calling a spring volunteer project. Some of the sections will be working, by themselves. Other sections are going to pair up with other sections that are close by. And we hope to have a good report with all of the SD7 sections doing some sort of community project in between April and probably May. The storm put everyone a little bit behind. So we are really working on an effort to fill our vacancies. We're currently at about 67% filled, which is not great, but you know, it's difficult because especially the further you go out northwest, those aren't necessarily strong Democratic areas. But we are working and trying to do some joint phone banking to recruit new precinct chairs. The other thing that's kind of exciting, and I think that Beverly Jarinko might be able to speak a little bit more towards this, but we decided that we were going to work on a messaging campaign. This is something that I think the Republicans are really good at, but just to have a standard message, you know, that we can share, whether or not it's in the elevator or responses to comments you might see in social media. So I'd be interested to hear what other Senate districts are doing in that regard. And that's about it. We did have Joe Jaworski. He's a candidate for Attorney General. He will be a candidate for 2022. And he came and spoke with our Senate district just last week. Well, actually, was that this week? It was March 1st. And it was really exciting, you know, to have him come speak. And he's trying to hit every club, every organization he can in between now and the primary. So if you have an interest, let me know. In fact, I can put his contact information in the chat. He really wants to get out and get to know everyone, all the Democrats across the state. So great for him, and I'm glad that he's starting so early.
I want to add, oh, go ahead, Angela, sorry.
That's it.
I just wanted to add, I think that's wonderful. If you need any help from the party when you're talking about your community service project, please let us know if there's anything we can do to be helpful with that. And the second part of what you said with the communications and the messaging, I think you're like totally on to something. And I think there are some other groups that are doing some research into messaging as well, because they feel the exact same way that Republicans are better at it than we are. And so as soon as I have more information to share on that, I think it's the very beginning stages. They're talking about doing some research in April and May. I will absolutely share that as well.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next SD. Let's see, where are we?
We just did 7.
And District 11 is next with
Eleven.
April.
April, are
Yeah.
you around?
Yeah, I'm here.
Wonderful. April, can you do the SD11 report?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Angela said, we are a little bit behind where we wanted to be because of the storm. We have started discussing the joint convention and answering some of the questions and concerns that came up last year, or not last year, last session, because we had chosen not to participate last time, trying to answer those questions. And so far, everybody seems to be moving toward a yes, but we had to postpone our meeting because my pipes burst and my house flooded. So I have been kind of camping at my house and between places. So it's been a little weird here. We're also working on revamping our vacancy committee so that we can improve our recruitment for precinct chair vacancies. And we are working hard on that right now. And also coming up with a plan for how we want to vet those potential precinct chairs and get them trained and paired up with like a mentor chair who has some experience in their area. So that's what we are working on right now.
Wonderful. April, let us know if we can help in any way. If you need to talk
Absolutely.
to people involved in the last Senate District Convention, or if you just need to talk to someone on the phone about the trauma
Yeah.
of living in several places, just let us know.
Yeah,
We're happy to help.
Jonathan Miller had said that he would be happy to do a Q&A session with any of my Senate District precinct chairs that had questions about what you guys went through to do the joint convention last time around. And literally I was getting ready to set that up when all the pipes burst. Literally the adjuster just came this morning during my conference period from school. So it is still a little bit of a crazy thing.
It
I feel
sounds
like
like it.
Yeah, I feel like it was Harvey, but cold. Yeah, cold Harvey.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, honestly, especially because we talked about the possibility of having still a virtual attendance, because we don't really know for sure where COVID is going to be the next time we're getting ready to have a convention. It might be something we still need to do. That really made a big difference with some of my precinct chairs that had voted no last time. And they seemed to be really in favor of it and thinking it was a really good option. It's awesome.
So
I'm
that's
really
something we
pleased.
need to that's something we need to flag. And I don't know if Jonathan is on this call, but I assume he's taking studious notes on the joint convention. If he is, or we can take the notes also, but just we need to remember that making sure whatever happens, if it ends up being a joint convention and it ends up being, is there potential for a hybrid, so that there is parts of it in person, parts of it online, so that people who it's harder to get to a central location, people who are more comfortable at home on their computers, that's something we need to just keep in mind in the planning process.
Right. Or even people like what came up with us last year, or the last time when we came up with that vote, was some people had concerns about the lack of reliable public transportation in our area,
right?
Especially for outlying areas, and that will really up the participation. So,
gotcha. Okay,
awesome.
Good to know. That's really helpful. Thank you, April. Hope everything's okay. Keep us posted. Vincent Sanders, Mr. Sanders, do I see you?
Yes, you do. Good evening, everyone, and greetings from Senate District 13. We have also put the word out about the joint convention, and I'm happy to report that we did have quorum, and all precinct chairs are excited to have the joint convention next year. So very happy to hear that. We're going to work very hard to make sure it's a successful joint convention. So hats off to all of my precinct chairs in SD 13. We've had 3 meetings from January, February, and we have one in March, talking about a wide range of things that are happening to us during the pandemic, post-pandemic, and where we're headed. In January, we had our Senator Miles on the call, and he had a host of his state reps to talk about bills that they were presenting, and also to talk about the various bills that he wanted to bring up. We had about 115 folks on the call, which I was very, very happy to see, because it was so many folks on the call, we actually had to go and change the Zoom platform from one staging pricing stage to another. So that shows that there's really interest in the Senate district. Very happy to report that. In February, we actually had a redistricting presentation by Lydia Ozuna, and it was a very, very good presentation. We're in the process of putting that on our Facebook page so you can take a look at it. But she really laid the groundwork on what's going on with that process. And several of us did testify at the Senate redistricting hearing to talk about their concerns about what's going on. So again, we were very actively involved in that. Then there's the winter storm. So Saturday, we have our Senate district meeting, and we're going to talk about the storm. The title of the project or the presentation is, where's the power? We need to find the power. So State Rep Ron Reynolds will be our featured speaker. We also will have Senator Miles to talk about what happened, those testimonies on the Senate side. So State Rep Ron Reynolds will talk about what happened on the House side. And obviously, a lot of things have occurred and have happened since the winter storm. So we'll make sure that you have that information so you can come join us.
And the
Also,
I'm sorry, and the Congresswoman for the federal.
I was going to say that.
Oh, sorry.
And our Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Louis will be on the call as well. And she's going to talk about the George Floyd legislation. She's going to give us the most up-to-date information on that legislation and what's happening. So as Tony mentioned earlier, one of our state reps, State Rep Theory House it looked pretty bad. I actually went by there to assist and to try to help. But, it just shows that when it comes time to really help one another, Harris County is in the House. Harris County Democrats are in the House. I'm going to prop my Senate district. We were in the House because there were several precinct chairs and those who live in SD 13 that actually suffered damage from the winter storm. And I know Tony has actually put together a We Care committee to where we're looking out for our precinct chairs and we're looking out for those who are in the SD 13 region to make sure that everyone's happy, okay, and surviving. So a lot of moving parts, but the most important thing is it's good that SD 13 100% voted for a joint convention.
I think that sounds great. And I'm just going to say, again, what I said before, the We Care committee, I think sounds amazing. If there's anything the party can help you with that, just keep us posted, because I do think that's a great thing to do. And I do think you hit the nail on the head that Democrats do care, and we need to make sure that we care year round. And when you have an organized effort like that, we're happy to help. Just let us know what you need from us.
Will do. Thank you.
So thank you. SD 15 is next. Is Jonathan Miller on the call?
He is not, but this is Prince. I'll be giving the
Hey,
report
Prince.
for him. Hello.
Awesome. Thank you.
So a few updates from Senate District 15. Hello, everyone. So at our last meeting in January, we didn't host a February meeting. We voted to host our lobby day virtually instead of in person. And so we sent out a poll to all of our precinct chairs and anyone on our SD 15 list, asking them about any legislative priorities that they want to see during our lobby day. We are currently looking for a new Senate District vacancy chair. Senate District 17, you stole a good one from us. We also voted at our last meeting to support the next joint convention as well. And then we also did a lot of volunteering around the Senate District. I know Adonica and Carl Davis, excuse me, I'm so sorry, were two of our folks who are really out there on the ground, as well as our Senator John Whitmire was hosting multiple drives across the district. And that is it for our report.
Thank you, Prince. Appreciate it. Tell Jonathan we missed him, but we're happy to have you here to do it as well. SD 17, Aliza.
Hi. I don't have a report for this group, but we do have an item of business that David will talk us through. David?
Yeah, we have a young fellow who's moved into Senate District 17. He's a real activist. He's been active wherever he's lived in the United States. Long list of activities, and he's really eager to get involved. And one thing he'd really like to do is be on the Rules Committee. So what I'd like to do is make a motion that the steering committee nominate him to be on the Rules Committee. Okay, and that be put on the agenda for the CEC, so the CEC can vote him onto the Rules Committee.
So that's an interesting question, because we are not, we do the committees in 2-year terms, I believe. Is Jerry Bernberg on the phone?
I'm here.
Jerry
Yes.
Bernberg, and is Rose here? Can we talk about, can we add people right now to committees?
We can't add anybody because that would mean we would have to take somebody off of that Senate district to replace them because there is 4 people from that Senate district. There are 4 people from that Senate district. So it would be to replace somebody. If we wanted to switch out, they can definitely do that. But to add additional people, it's already the maximum is 4.
So
And
Rose,
I
I thought we changed that. I thought that it's 4 votes, but we can have, 20 members if you want, but they have to divide it into 4 votes.
Let's pull, Rose, if you will, pull the most recent bylaws. I know we've been playing around with this for a while now. The other question I would ask David is, he can attend any meeting if we add him to the distribution list and he attends the meetings, but he's not a full member. Would that fill his need to be more active? He's not a voting member.
I think he'd rather be more active than that, actually. I think he'd rather be a participant and not just an attendee.
Hi, this is Rose. I would read the bylaws, but the reason why I'm not sharing my screen is also because I just had cataract surgery earlier today.
Oh.
So I can't see and I can't read. So but my understanding is that it would just be 4 people on the 4 voting members. I don't know about the additional people. I thought we had changed the rules. So it went back that it was only the maximum of 4 people.
So what I'd like to do is, Jerry, if you'll just take a look at this, but I don't want to pause the meeting while you look at it. So if you'll just take a look at it, and we'll come back to, David, I will not ignore you. We will come back to this. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
I just want to figure it out, and not have everybody sitting in silence while we figure it out. So Jerry, if do you mind just looking into that real quick, and then we'll come back to it.
I'm fine to do that, but Rose, are you able to send me the most recent bylaws, or do we know the most recent bylaws?
They're in the chat.
Jay, I'll just send them in the chat.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
That one. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, SD 17, SD 18.
Hi,
Dwight.
it's Bernadette. Dwight
Hi,
was
Bernadette.
going to be here. I saw him 2 days ago, but it must have slipped his mind. He's working on his house as well. But I know we haven't done a formal vote about the joint convention, but I'm pretty sure we are going to go for it. So we're going to support it.
Okay. Sounds great. That's all the reports of the Senate districts. We're now going to move to the reports of the standing committees. The first one is the Rules Committee.
Thank you very much. We have been meeting on a monthly basis, and we are progressing along on certain sections of the rules. We decided that there are some things that we could present to the steering committee and the CEC, but rather than submit something little by little, we decided to wait till we have a little bit more proposed changes before we present that to the CEC, rather than just one little bitty section or one section. So the committee voted just to hold off on presenting that at this time. But to address David's request, I think we're going to be able to have a resolution to that because of some proposed wording changes, where one of the members that is on the committee would automatically be an ex officio member by the nature of the position he holds within the party. So I think that that's something that can be doable, but in general, unless Jerry has seen something different at this time, but I don't think that we can do that, add him into that without removing somebody or exchanging somebody out in that place. But that really concludes the report that we have. Like I said, we've been meeting monthly. We're meeting next week as well. And we're just chugging along each section by section. So
thank you, Rose. And I hope you recover well from your surgery.
Thank you. I can see.
It's always helpful.
Right.
The next committee is the primary committee report. Is Risha on here?
I'm here. Good evening, everyone. We've met 2 times since the last steering committee meeting. We really wanted to make sure that we set a timeline that's early. Our goal is to ensure that we have a list of polling locations for the primary by the end of this year. We also met last month in February to discuss some primary review board recommendations, and we look forward to figuring out next steps with you, Lily. That's my report.
Awesome. Just to give a little bit of update on the primary, I think that, Delilah said something to me yesterday that I haven't really been able to wrap my head around. There was a Republican that filed a bill to push back the primary because the census data is going to be delayed. So I just want everyone to, be thinking about the fact that the primary this year has a bunch of moving parts that we don't know yet. We don't know. We're working under the assumption that it's happening when it usually happens. But if a Republican filed that bill, it makes me think that they're going to try to move the primary. So that means we just need to be ready to adjust when we need to and adjust our timelines and make sure that our primary process is as best as it can be. And especially because we're working with a new elections administrator. So it's a really exciting opportunity, hopefully, to have a great primary. And we have, and this is exciting, I think, we're going to have new machines for the election. So there's just going to be a lot of changes. So we're going to need everyone to get fully involved as we get closer, and just, stay on top of deadlines that may be changing rapidly. So we'll keep it, as soon as we hear more stuff, also, we'll keep everyone posted as well. Thank you, Risha. Next is the resolutions committee report. Lynn, are you here?
I am. Hello, everyone. We've met twice, I think, so far. Snowvid 21 threw us off, but we recollected and got back together the week after. So you all should have before you, that was sent out in the email prior to the meeting, 4 resolutions. So it was supposed to be 3. You have 4 because I confused some things. So 3 of them were voted on by the committee. That is the climate action, VDVR, and the George Floyd one. The other one, which is the expulsion for Cruz, was submitted at the request of Adrian Ozuna, and so you have that one to review as well. However, based on conversations we had previously in meetings, resolutions only allowed to submit 3 resolutions. So if you all can look at those and review them and let us know what you think.
I made a motion to approve the resolutions to be added to the agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you. Aliza, do we have a second for that?
I second.
Wonderful. Do we have any discussion before we vote on it?
I just have a question. In all of this, we are not addressing the issue that has touched every single one of us, and every single person, Democrat and Republican, is ERCOT. There's nothing addressing the situation with ERCOT.
No, there isn't. No, none of the other Senate districts submitted anything addressing ERCOT. We do have the climate action one for Harris County to be a part of that, which isn't necessarily ERCOT, but it's the storms that we keep having every year that are growing and growing in magnitude and devastation. But no, we didn't have anything that's addressing ERCOT directly.
Okay, well, if we didn't have anything, maybe did you have participation from everyone? Did they all receive notice and communications back and forth? You as the chair, can you verify that?
I can verify that I've sent emails to the list that I'm giving, that I was given of committee members, and that for our first meeting, we had approximately 30 people.
Okay, and
that is amazing, Lynn. You had 30 people at your committee meeting. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
Do
so
we have any other, oh, JL?
Yes. Chuck Cruz, Secretary for SD4, has his hand up as well.
I haven't received a notice of any meeting. There was supposed to have been a resolutions committee meeting like the day that Winter Storm Uri shut everything down. And I presumed that it got postponed, but I never heard one word about a rescheduling or anything else of the meeting. And I haven't heard a peep since then. So I was unaware that there was a rescheduling of the resolutions committee meeting. And I would love to see the email sent out about it.
Are you sure you're on the committee?
Yes, because I was attending the first meeting.
Correct.
I attended the meeting we had in January.
Okay, so I think let's Senate district chairs, if you would, and I just appreciate you taking the time to do this again, resubmit your list of members to your committee members to JL for the resolutions committee, so we can check it and make sure that there's, you know, we just got to figure out what's going on because we've got to get it fixed. So
also, I thought SD chairs were also going to be included on the invites, just so we're aware of when meetings are in case people ask. I've seen no invitations, and some of my committee members, I don't remember which committee, you know, they asked me like, hey, I haven't heard anything. I guess I'm like primary. I'm surprised you guys have met twice, because I haven't heard anything from anyone. And I don't know that.
So I think we said last meeting that we would make an effort to add the SD chairs to all the committee meetings. We just need to, it sounds like some are doing it, some are not. We just need to get a better system in place. So JL, will you make sure that that happens, please?
Yes.
And that every committee chair invites all the SD chairs.
Yes, and we'll resend all the list with all the SD names and chairs and emails just to make sure that it is included.
JL, that would be very helpful for each of us if you have what list you already have, so that we can look at that and review, oh, that's what's wrong. You know, we can point out whatever's missing or for each of the committees to each of the Senate district chairs. We would appreciate that.
Absolutely. And at one point it was on our website. And so, you know, we can also make sure that the website one is correct in this process.
And then Lily, Chuck has his hand up one more time.
One more comment, and then we're going to close discussion on the resolutions. Chuck?
SD4, under my direction, has developed a draft resolution regarding Winter Storm Uri and the abject failure of the Republicans in the Texas executive and legislative branches. And that was something that I was hoping to submit in the resolutions committee whenever it happens next. But I understand that we are currently at 3 for 3 of our proposed maximum.
We are.
We haven't voted on that yet.
We have not voted on it yet. There is
Correct.
a motion on the table right now. Or there is a motion on the table to adopt all 3 of the resolutions. It has been seconded. We've been discussing that right now. The next action is going to be to vote on that motion on the table.
10-4.
Is everyone in favor of adopting all 3 of these resolutions and sending them to the CEC? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed?
Me.
I am.
Opposed.
Okay, the motion carries. So we're going to add these 3 resolutions to the CEC agenda for the next CEC. In the meantime, please, Chuck, get with Lynn. Let's figure out what the next resolution looks like and what we can do with it that you're
10-4.
working on.
Yes, ma'am.
A point of information or a question, really.
Philip, do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, let me recognize you first.
Okay.
Philip, do you have a question?
Yes, I do. And the question is, if it's potentially possible, I know that we went through rules and we were trying to figure out how this would work, and we have done this in the past, and I don't know whether we still have that opportunity to be able to do this. Jerry may be able to speak to it better, but if we have this particular resolution, which is timely, if that can be brought forth once it's developed and shot back to the resubmitted to the steering committee and have a vote online to be presented at the CEC.
So I think the rule of thumb that we're following is that we only send 3 resolutions at a time to the CEC.
Can I
Although we broke that, we like probably at the last CEC, we sent like 4 or 5. So it's not a hard and fast rule. It's only a
Can I
recommendation.
interject?
Lynn, please.
Previously, we were in the habit, if you all remember, since I've been chair, we have been in the habit of submitting probably 5 and 6. There was one CEC that we had maybe 6 or 7 resolutions. And that's kind of where Jerry said, hey, y'all are getting out of hand. The rules actually state you can only do 3. I don't remember us doing more than 3 since then, to the point where I make it a point to bring it up in our meetings that we can only do 3. That's why I strongly recommend and ask everyone to get with their committee, the committee members from your SD, so that you can be sure that your interests are represented. Because anything that we're moving is at the will of our committee. It's not any random it's not any random resolution. These are the will. These come from the SDs and the will of the committee.
Jerry, I believe you have your hand up. And you're muted as well, so you have to unmute. Jerry, unmute your computer, please.
Do that. Hold on. Now, I'd put my hand up to address the Rules Committee issue, which I can do and will do in a moment. With regard to the Resolutions Committee issue, I think the methodology to get that resolution adopted is that the Resolutions Committee can prepare and submit to the steering committee a resolution on this topic. The steering committee then can pass and adopt that resolution as the resolution of the Harris County Democratic Party and may do so by email. Then at the next scheduled CEC meeting, if it's still germane, it can be brought up for ratification. It must be brought up for ratification by the full CEC. But the way to get a resolution in the name of the HCDP when there is not time to do so before the next CEC meeting is for the Resolutions Committee to submit it to the steering committee and the steering committee to submit it for a vote of the steering committee as the interim resolution of the Harris County Democratic Party. Lily, do you want me to stop at that point?
I want you to pause.
With the rules?
Yeah, yes, pause right there. Lynn, are you okay if Chuck gets with you offline and you take the resolution to the committee and then get it approved by the committee and then get it sent to the steering committee in the next couple of days, since it
Sure,
is
I'm not
timely?
opposed to that, but the concern isn't time as much as it is limit. So we can exceed the 3 limit.
No. This is not going to the CEC. It will be adopted, if at all, assuming it passes, purely by the steering committee. It then becomes the official interim position of the Harris County Democratic Party until the next scheduled CEC meeting on which it can get on the agenda.
Correct.
Okay, with that being explained, just to be sure that I'm hearing you correctly, that it would still go before the steering committee. However, it doesn't go to the CEC until our next quarterly scheduled CEC.
That's correct.
Okay, so with
Wonderful.
that said, then I would like to just hold it until our committee's next meeting versus confusing the steering committee and adding another one that they won't actually see at the CEC.
No, that's true. Steering committee.
Okay.
After this meeting.
Okay. I think that sounds great. Okay. So that's resolutions. Jerry, do you want to address the rules committee real quick?
Yes, our bylaws, which were passed in June of 2020, so they are in fact the current version of the bylaws, specifically say 2 things. Number 1, there can only be 4 voting members of each committee. this is all in Article 7 Article 8 of the bylaws. There can only be 4 voting members from each Senate district. However, you can have as many members as you want. It's just that there can only be the 4 voting members. The other thing is they can in fact be selected, appointed, or whatever midterm. The rules specifically have the provision that the standing committees can be filled. Let's see, additional members of standing committees may be selected from time to time in the same manner as you select them to fill vacancies. So you can add additional people at any time, but you're limited to 4 voting members of the committee. There could be 6 non-voting members from each Senate district if you wanted.
Okay, so David, what I understand SD 17 would like to do is to add this person to the committee as a non-voting member to the committee.
Needs to unmute.
You'll have to unmute, David. There you go.
Okay, he would also like to be on resolutions. I should have brought that up. I didn't. Okay. So I'll move that we add Charles Onwuchi to the Rules Committee and the Resolutions Committee as a non-voting member from Senate District 17.
Aliza says he would also like to join the Audit Committee. So there's 3 committees he would like to join as a non-voting member. Jerry, explain to me what we need to do to make that happen. You're muted again, Jerry, sorry.
I'm back to unmute. Just to add an item to the agenda to approve appointments to additional appointments to standing committee, to the standing committees. And then,
okay.
Then you would report, and the one thing I'm not clear about is whether that would come from the chair or from the committees themselves, but it doesn't matter. The name of this individual, having been nominated by the steering committee to serve as a non-voting member of committees A, B, and C, and then call for a vote on that resolution, on that motion.
On that motion, and I'm sorry, just to clarify, it goes on to the CEC agenda, correct?
Yes.
Okay, JL, can you find the CEC agenda while we're working on the other things and add it to there, please, the way Jerry just said, and just get with Jerry if you have more questions. Okay, thanks, JL. Okay, we are moving to, I'm sorry, Jerry, just.
I assume you want to take a pro forma vote on whether to.
Yes, I think we will need a motion to do that I believe David just made the motion to add this person named to the standing committee, to the 3 different committees. I do need a second on that. I got a second from Aliza. It sounds like we've had most of our discussion. If everyone's okay, we're going to move to a vote. All in favor of adding this to the CEC agenda, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
I see a lot of hands raised. Okay, raise your hand or say no very loudly, or type no into the chat if you're against it. Otherwise, it sounds like we're going to go ahead and do that. So motion passes. Thank you, David, for adding good committee members.
Well, thank everybody, because Charles will be very excited.
Oh, good. And then the next item on the agenda is the report of the fundraising committee.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So our fundraising committee has met twice so far this year. And our last meeting was actually yesterday, and it was a really successful meeting. I think all of you are aware of the fact that our very first fundraiser for the year had to be canceled due to the crazy weather. We tried 3 times, attempted 3 different dates, but couldn't make it happen. But the good news is we've moved quickly to our next fundraiser that is going to go out to the public tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that. It's called Our Time Is Now, and it's actually our virtual spring JRR. And it's super exciting because we have so many generous sponsors that have come in already. And I just looked at a report that we're keeping for it, and it looks like we're already at $83,500 that has been committed, or actually has a lot of it has already come in. And these are, like I said, are very, very generous sponsors. And the reason we wanted to do it like this is this is going to be a conversation between Nancy Pelosi, Jamie Harrison, moderated by Lina Hidalgo. We want everyone to be able to attend this meeting. So the generosity of the sponsors will allow us to actually just do like a mobilized link for anyone that wants to attend, will be able to attend. The date of the event is March 25th, so be on the lookout for that one. We also have another smaller fundraiser that we are collaborating with Road Women and HPAD, which, by the way, I'll make a pitch. If any club is interested in joining hands with us, we are happy to host fundraisers together with you. That one is called We Run the World, which actually was supposed to be for International Women's Month. It was supposed to have been held this month on the 16th, but due to all the problems everyone is having, the committee decided to move it to April 16th. And that is going to be a real fun event where they're trying to get a bunch of videos from people like Stacey Abrams and all our wonderful women that are in Congress, and they're going to have some dances, and it's just going to be a fun event. The ticket for that, I believe, is $10, but there are sponsorship levels. It is being promoted through Road Women, and we've been pushing it out as well. So that's our other event in April. That and what we discussed at our meeting yesterday, besides these events, was a sustaining membership drive that we're going to be doing. There's like 1 million Democrats in Harris County that voted, and guess how many sustaining members we have? We only have 377 sustaining members at this time, which is ridiculous. We should have at least 2,000 minimum. So the challenge has been put out to the committee that they are to at least come back with 4 sustaining members or more. And Ashley Rickardson, who serves on the committee, has been kind enough to, whoever gets the most sustaining members between now and our next meeting, which will be on May 26th. She's throwing in a dinner and a bottle of wine. So hopefully we'll come back with some good results on that. I forgot to mention also that part of the Our Time Is Now, we're also going to add to it a silent auction. We'll be sending out more details on that because we're still working out the details, but it's going to be a fun silent auction. And that is my report.
Thank you, Rufi. If anybody has any good silent auction items, please get with Rufi. We want to make them as diverse as possible. So, you know, if it's a coupon, if it's memorabilia, if it's a cake that you're really good at making, anything that you think people would like to bid on, just think about it. Let's get creative and make it as fun as possible. Thank you, Rufi. Next, Adrian Ozuna is the Audit Committee report. Adrian.
Good evening, everyone. Audit Committee has started the HCDP audit. There's a subcommittee that is meeting. They had their first meeting on Saturday with Mark from the party. They are going to be meeting every other week to get all the information necessary to be putting a report in. I'm allowing them, the subcommittee, to, sorry, my cat's deciding to, the subcommittee will put all the information together. I will sit in from time to time, but I'm going to let them do all the do the work as they seem necessary, and then we will pull the report together and submit a comprehensive report once that is done to the steering committee and then for the CEC. There is a second subcommittee which I delayed slightly because of my brain capacity at the moment, for the treasurers, for the clubs and orgs and other PAC treasurers. We had a very robust discussion about that at the last audit committee, and so that gave me some food for thought and audiences. It was just a very, very good discussion on that. There is a subcommittee. I'm going to get them moving in probably about another week here. And those are the two major things that are happening. There are some other things that we had percolating behind the scenes for a while that I want to get moving forward. I've just got to get through March, which is my busiest month professionally. So that's pretty much where we stand right now.
Thank you, Adrian. Oh, go ahead.
And I will say, I will add the Senate district chairs to my distribution list. They are not on it currently, so.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I did want to add as well that the audit committee has started meeting with Mark and asking some really great questions. I think that with Kevin getting sick and I guess February, right before COVID hit last week, and then us moving remotely, it's really nice to have professionals helping us with the audit so that we can do a really thorough one and make sure we're in a really good place. So Adrian, I appreciate it. The next item is unfinished business. I'm going to turn it over to JL, who's going to give an update on the precinct chair survey responses that we did to help us kind of make sure we're communicating as best as possible. And there's clearly always breakdowns in communication. We're trying to identify them as quickly as possible and just make it better and better. And with as many people as we're trying to communicate with, it happens. So JL.
Lily. So we sent a survey out near the end of December last year, focusing on the three different aspects, communications, CEC, and its accessibility with all the precinct chairs now that it's virtual, and then the operations of the party. So the main questions that we were really trying to get from precinct chairs is the communications aspect. Are they receiving the invitations to like any trainings, any onboardings that we have? When it comes to the CEC, if they are receiving like the documentations ahead of time, there's definitely a lot of room for improvement from what we saw from the responses. We did get like a third of the folks who did say that they are receiving the information. The other 2/3, right, are not receiving it like in a timely basis or in the time, a good time ahead of time where they can review it, properly. So what we are going to be doing for this year moving forward for our CEC is really just trying to be nailing down those dates to try to send out information a lot more sooner than we have in the past. Regarding the actual CEC, Rose touched on this a little bit with like the CEC meeting being virtual, just trying to make sure that it is accessible for everybody. I know in the past, like in the last 2 or 3 CEC meetings, it has been a little challenging with receiving the Zoom link and being able to log in. So I believe at the last two rules committee, somebody had brought up maybe think about other platforms that may be a little bit more accessible for our precinct chairs. And of course, also thinking about any hybrid CEC meetings in the near future as well, as things become a little bit safer. On the operations side of it too, right, we want to make sure, and also communications, we want to make sure that precinct chairs, know, one of the questions was, how much information or how aware are you of what HCDP is doing regarding events and any trainings that we do have. What we learned from that again is that we need to be sending out more communication. So we do have a couple of our staffers on the line as well. We have one of our communications person, Angelica Luna Kaufman, who handles our press releases. So again, just trying to get all the information that we have, out in a timely manner. Also, dropping my email in the chat if you would like a copy or to try to sit down to get more information on those results or on the responses from the survey. Feel free to email me as well. Just put my email in the chat, and we can try to sit down and again, get an easy readable format of the responses that we can share with you guys. Oh, and adding on top of that too, specifically focusing on the Senate districts. Over the past month or so, our field team and a couple of other members amongst our team have been meeting with Swing Texas Left. Many of y'all may already know them. They are really emphasizing on trainings for these next couple of months. So a couple of Senate district chairs, I believe you might have already received contact from either Swing Texas Left or somebody from our team, just to try to get some information on what the training structure is within your Senate districts. And of course, as we move forward with more information throughout the couple of months, we're going to be starting to establish more of a training structure that funnels through the party, then the Senate districts and the precinct chairs to make sure that everybody has the information that they need for whether it's van or vote builder, how to organize your precinct, and even just any refreshers for or onboarding for new or experienced precinct chairs. But again, feel free to email me and then we can discuss more about more in detail about those results. Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, JL. A little bit farther, we actually have our trainings schedule that we're doing that we'll get to in a minute. Before we get to that, we're going to go through HCDP staff introductions very quickly, because I do want to make sure that everyone here knows who the HCDP staff is and what they're working on. And so I'm going to start with Delilah and let her facilitate introducing all the staff. Delilah.
Thanks, Lily. Hello, y'all. I'm Delilah. I'll go to Hilly. I think I have worked with most everyone on this call at some point before. Just started as the interim executive director the week of, as Lynn put it, Snowvid. I'm so excited to be here and work with all of you and the staff at the party. Right now, one of our biggest priorities is doing some analysis into what happened in 2020 and trying to figure out areas of opportunity moving forward, and also working with Swing Left and RJ to build out a true relational organizing program, and then supporting Mark and Lily and Sam and everything else that's going on at the party, and working with Rufy for fundraising, of course. But good to see you all and to be on this meeting. I think I'll probably do some rounds contacting you all to have some one-on-ones just to check in. I know I'm meeting with Eliza next week, so we'll also give you all a call just to further introduce myself or answer any other questions you have. So thanks again for hopping on this call tonight. I'll pass it to Sam to introduce himself.
Hi there, everyone. Same with Delilah. I think I know most of y'all, and we've been working together for the last couple of years. I'm grateful to still continue to be working here going into 2022. As JL touched on, there's going to be a lot of training occurring this year because next year we got the primary, the runoff, and the general election, and we want as many people prepared as possible when the calendar flips over to January 1st and we begin the primary. And so I look forward to working with all of y'all, continuing to work with all of y'all to make sure that people are as properly trained, as best trained when it comes to van and to organizing the different precincts, the areas of Harris County, to continue what we've been doing since those historic wins in 2018 and winning blue in a midterm election. Who should I hand it over to? RJ.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. My name's RJ. I know a lot of people on this call. Adding on to what was said before, my big focus is working with our Leadership Academy fellows, and then also working with Delilah to expand and develop our relational organizing program that we're using, formerly known as Outvote, now known as Impactive. We use it a lot for texting, and I'm just excited to get to use it more through this year and through 2022. Also, focused on voter registration once we're able to get back out there and start doing those big voter registration drives again. So that is a big focus of mine as well. So feel free to reach out to me. I think everybody has my contact information. And again, just excited to be working with everybody. I'll pass it on to Polly.
Good evening, everybody. I've worked with some of you last year when we were coordinating for the runoff and the presidential election. This year, I want to just continue building on the infrastructure that already exists in the elections department at HCDP, and hoping, you know, to build it up stronger and more solidly, which would probably include like a training manual for election assistants and also something substantive for like another election director when they come in. Also making sure if we made any missteps last year, not repeating them for the upcoming primary. And then also working on strengthening our relationship with the elections administrator's office and supporting them in all the great work that they are doing right now. Okay, Savannah's turn.
Hello, everyone. My name is Savannah Charles. I am the candidate and event coordinator. I know a couple of people from attending some of the committee meetings, but for those of you who don't know me, I joined HCDP with the last election and helped with Black voter outreach. This year, my role is just focusing on those candidates that we have that will be running for re-election in the primary, and also new candidates that want to run so that we can elect Democrats up and down the ballot and that we can keep Harris County blue. And also, as far as events, just helping coordinate the CEC and the steering committee. So I know we talked a lot about communication and getting communication out. So if there are any, if you are having any issues with receiving notices or getting the information for CEC or steering committee, please let me know so that we can make sure that you receive all the updates, all the information so that you are able to attend. So thank you, and I will pass it to JL.
Awesome, thank you, Savannah. So like everybody else, I feel like I might know or may know all of y'all on this call. So I'll be a little short. My name is JL. I'm currently the operations manager at the party. My shift this year has focused to supporting the fundraisers and events that we have moving towards this year. So as Rufi mentioned, we do have a good number of fundraisers that we're building up this year, as well as Sam mentioned, a lot of the organizing trainings that we're having this year. So just making sure that we have all this information, the structure is in place. And again, we're getting out that information to as many precinct chairs, but also to non-precinct chairs as well, right? Any folks that are interested in becoming a precinct chair or precinct captain, making sure that we are getting information to those folks as well. And I'd also like to pass it on over to our one of our communications coordinators, Angelica.
Hi, my name is Angelica Luna Kaufman. I think I've worked with a lot of you in the past, either with the Resolutions Committee or my Senate District 15, so hello to all of you. I, along with my fabulous counterpart, Elisa Rockford, we manage the communication out of for the Harris County Democratic Party. So everything from press releases to official statements, just keeping up with any newsworthy events and staying ahead of them and positioning ourselves the best way possible, you know, really trying to control that narrative. So that's what we do on our end, on top of the Blue Report, and making sure that we're communicating all of this back to all of you, and then also managing the social media platforms as well. So really trying to stay relevant, tell our story, and working towards turning Texas blue. Thank you.
Thank you, Angelica. And then lastly, I'd love to close us up strong with two of our really vital members of our team, Rufi and then Mark, and they can give a little bit about themselves as well. Rufi?
Hi, everyone. I've been around for a while, since 2017, and I tend to wear several hats. I have a title, which is Special Projects, but I don't really know what that one means, but I do help with a lot of the fundraising events. I plan a lot of the events, and it has been a really interesting time since COVID, because we've had to do things in such a manner that we never thought we would have to. It's been, we've had to be very creative, and it's been a real learning experience. I also chair the Asian American Pacific Islander Committee for the Harris County Democratic Party. We hope this year to build on that. We have a big plan. We hope to raise some funds for that as well. And as I mentioned in the fundraising committee, I actually came on to work on sustaining membership. So I do that as well. I guess, yeah. So I guess, Mark, you're on.
Hello, everybody. I've interfaced with each of you one or more times over the years. I've been volunteering at the party for a couple of years, and I take care of a lot of the things that I call behind the scenes. So I'm the IT guy. I spent my professional career doing IT work, but I take care of all the technology behind the scenes for the party. Do some technical stuff on the web, the portal, and I'm helping manage the Facebook group for the precinct chairs, trying to get relevant information out to them. The van administrator, as many of you know, and I've been doing quite a bit of one-on-one training in the last month or two. I'm also helping Sam and the team with the quarterly precinct chair trainings about van. So we've put van training on a regular schedule. So whether or not you're new or you need a refresher, there's resources out there, and then the classes for those that would like the virtual class to go over it, sort of virtual face-to-face. Because of the loss of Kevin and then DJ Ibarra, I've been sort of stepped in and help a little bit on the finance area. As was mentioned before, working with Adrian's subcommittee on the audit. I'm getting my arms around a lot of the other processes that we have in the financial area, moving ahead of the ongoing conversion of paper to a digital platform so that we have electronic records. I'm on the verge of starting to document some of these processes, so we're all aligned to the same process and not what's in the back of somebody's head. There's a lot to do in this area. Try to get some best practices in there and get everybody aligned to improve how we manage information, our banks, and numerous other things that Lily has me doing. I'll yield the floor back.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I think one of the things you've heard from several people is that we are doing a lot of trainings. And we have, one of the things we realized, and it was one of those aha or duh moments, that we should be doing trainings close to every CEC. At the week after every CEC, we should be doing trainings for new precinct chair orientations. We have started doing those. We have a schedule. You can see on the screen that we're sharing the trainings that we've already done. We did have one that had very low attendance because of the freeze or the snow vid, which I never heard before. I like that. So we have the trainings that we've already done. We've also ramped up our leadership academy. JL can tell you, we have 17 people in our leadership academy. It's kind of amazing. We're also recruiting for our summer leadership academy at this time. And our leadership academy is a great way to learn about the party, get involved in the work that we do. And some of it is kind of lecture, some of it is hands-on learning. It's a hybrid how to do events, how to do campaigning, how to do block walking, how to do phone banking, how to do texting, how to ask someone to support the party, how to tell your story when you meet new people. So we do, what a campaign actually looks like, what field means, what fundraising means. So we're doing what communications means in the campaign. So we're really, it's a great program that JL's been shepherding for the last few years, the Leadership Academy. We are also doing a food distribution this week. Well, we've done some fundraising for the Houston Food Bank. Just so y'all know, we helped the food bank raise, I want to say the number, Rufy, was about $8,000. We also are doing a food distribution with them this coming weekend to make sure that we're helping in our community around us. And so we have a lot of great events. Before we get to the post-election analysis, I just wanted to look at the real quick, JL, slide down to the HCDP schedule of upcoming events. We have our precinct orientation that we're doing after the next CEC. We have a couple of fundraisers that we've already mentioned. We are going to work on an iftar in April. So we are going to continue to be as active as possible, because we all believe that the purpose of the party is to recruit volunteers, train volunteers, and engage in our communities around us. And so that's what we're trying to continue to do. With that, I am going to turn it over to Delilah to do give you a brief update on the post-election analysis and where we are with that. After that, we will move to reviewing and approving the CEC agenda. So if you don't mind doing a little bit of multitasking while Delilah is speaking, let's just make sure we get if you haven't already looked at the agenda, please glance at it so that we can be sure to do that. Delilah?
Thanks. So coming off of the presidential election year, thought it would be important to analyze the effectiveness of all of the program and how we spent money last year. So we are working with Blue Labs, a national data firm, to analyze all of our programs and also analyze how the money was spent, and for them to make recommendations based off of how different precincts or areas performed for where we should focus energy and efforts for 2022. The data analyst leading this with us from Blue Labs oh my God, I'm blanking on his name. Thank you. His name is Josh, and he lives just south of Dallas in Waxahachie. So is pretty excited about getting more involved with work in Texas, moves here in the middle of the pandemic, is leading this for us, but we have a preliminary report from Blue Labs. They're working to dive deeper into some of our programs, like the voter registration that happened at apartment complexes, also digging into our vote by mail program, looking at the effectiveness of our voter guide mailer, the Court of Appeals program, all of the folks that we called and texted. So just like the generic GOTV programming that RJ and Sam ran. And we should be able to come back to y'all with a report and a presentation outlining how effective that was mobilizing folks to get out to the polls. From there, though, we'll also have some guidance on next steps for where we should be doing voter registration work, or where we should be doing mobilization work in 2022 to protect everyone we got elected in 2018 and get more Democrats elected this upcoming cycle. Anything else on that, Lily?
No, I think that it's really exciting because, and all the Senate district chairs have seen the outline of the analysis, the questions that we're going to be that we were asking in the analysis of the Senate district chairs have seen that. But I think some of the interesting, and just quickly glancing at it, I like to wait to actually read something to when we have sorry, one sec. I like to wait until we actually have the slide deck with the graphics in it, but it was just an interesting, analysis where off the top of, one of the top things they said is Biden did really well in Harris County. We know that. but the down ballots did not benefit as well as we wanted them to with the Biden's coattails. So that, there's just going to be some very interesting bits of information that they're going to come back with. So we'll most likely what we'll do is we'll have a separate. I probably won't put it on the steering committee agenda. I will ask everyone to come to a separate meeting like this so that we can dive in and talk about it and have Josh present to everybody. If you're interested, I think the only way we get better and better is to analyze our successes and analyze our mistakes. So I'm really excited about it. And I hope y'all will all participate. Thanks, Delilah. Has everybody now reviewing the CEC agenda? Aliza has already made a motion to approve the CEC agenda. Aliza, I really like your speed tonight. But let's give everybody another minute or so to look at. There's a typo. JL, if you'll catch the typo, or Savannah, whoever's doing the updates, that Kingwood area Democrats should be plural with an S on the end. Oh, thanks. Good catch. JL's also, or Savannah, I think JL's going to add Charles on there to the committees. We're going to add that as well. JL, did you get a chance to?
Yeah, Jerry sent me the language for it, so we're adding it to the agenda now. It's unfortunately not on this one, but it will be on the agenda that goes to the CEC.
Okay. And then we also need to note the passing. Thank you, Audrey, for pointing that out, as Latanya Whittington's twin sister passed away. So we could add her to ailings, to passings as well.
Oh, yes, I believe we have her, Latrina Denise Carter.
Oh, perfect. Okay, you're a step ahead. Thank you. Thanks, y'all.
Oh.
And so I think that we have a motion on the table to approve the CEC agenda. Can I get a second for that? Oh, we have two participants with raised hands. If you're raising your hand to second, Philip, nod your head if you're raising your hand to second that. Jerry?
No, yeah. I'm just suggesting that we add to the death condolences the freeze victims.
Oh, thank you for that. Lenora, you also have your hand raised.
Just to second.
Okay. Okay, so Lenora is seconding, but I'm sorry, I know this is like terribly out of order, but there's another one down here. It's the founder of the Sharpstown Democrats and civic leader, who also, Dr. Robert Prater, former, also passed away. So we'll add those to the agenda. So sorry, we have a motion on the table. It has been seconded to adopt the CEC agenda with all the changes that we have noted. All in favor? Raise your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Aye. Motion carries. We are adopting the CEC agenda for the next CEC meeting. Before we move to adjourn, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. I think that the last year has been and I know I repeat myself, but last year's been a true testament to how amazing our Democratic elected officials, activists, steering committee, precinct chairs, the Democratic family have really stepped up to help each other and to help the communities around them. My hope is that the 2022 election will have some normalcy reinstated and we'll be able to make it a bigger and better election year for everybody with everybody's help and input. So I do appreciate all of you And I think with that, we're going to adjourn this meeting and say thank you for all that you do. It's been quite the year.